Hello and welcome to our Screen 1 here this morning, where we're going to talk about some of our live events, especially the Deep Blue Sea by Terence Rattigan coming live from the National Theatre. I have Jim Ryan here with me, a former English teacher who has held poetry appreciation classes for adults in Capquin, Dungarvan, Clonmel and Dublin. He loves poetry, opera, theatre and classical music. He's an avid theatre, opera and concert goer. He has done many radio broadcasts on the subject of opera, poetry, drama and classical music. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Eugene.
Jim, we're getting The Deep Blue Sea by Terence Rattigan from the National Theatre on the 1st of September at 7 o'clock. Terence Rattigan, 1911 to 1977, was once one of the greatest names in English theatre.
That's right, Eugene. Yes, he was, especially in the 30s, 40s and 50s. He's the only playwright, and the record still stands to this day, to have two plays in London that had a run of over 1,000 nights. And that record still stands to this day. Yeah, he was. He had hit after hit in the 30s and 40s and the early 50s, and his comedy was considered to be, for its style and for its construction, was considered to be on a par with those of Oscar Wilde. So Harold Hobson said about him that he had the greatest mastery of the theatre of anybody writing for the English stage at that time. He wrote the well-made play. It's a joy to watch, but mainly middle-class, comfortable type of plays, yeah. But a lot going on that was very deep, going on beneath the surface.
But his reputation diminished a bit in the 1950s. Why was that?
It did, actually. I suppose it almost can go down to one play. In 1956, John Osborne's Look Back in Anger was a great hit. And, this was the angry young man, Jimmy Porter. This was a different type of play. This was a kind of a Freudian play of anger and angst, etc., and where people tore the insides out of each other, if you like. And soon, Rattigan soon became seen as old hat, and soon he was the forgotten glamour boy of the English theatre, if you like.
And he's coming back into fashion a bit now again, is he?
Absolutely. And I can vouch for that myself, Eugene. Like last year, after you had a great Winter's Tale here with Judi Dench from the Garrick Theatre, I was in London soon afterwards, and I got two Terence Rattigan plays. And only recently, I got another Rattigan comedy over in Bath. I would say what a lot of it could be attributed to the 2011 centenary celebrations. There were a lot of his plays reproduced on radio, and the BBC did a great program on him. So people became aware that this man had been a great playwright, and maybe that he was worth resurrecting, if you like.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the man, Jim.
Well, he was born in 1911, as you said, in London. Sir William, his father, was a justice out in India, and unfortunately, as Rattigan said, he was a serial philanderer. His mother, Vera, of course, was very unhappy with all that, and it had a huge influence on Rattigan himself. He said his father's, as he called it, shameful conduct led to his own homosexuality. And the theme of infidelity and so on, it's a huge thing in all his plays. He comes back to it again and again.
How will The Deep Blue Sea be raised among the plays? Tell us a little bit about it, coming from the National Theatre especially.
Yeah, well, I suppose his first big play was 1933. He had gone to Harrow and then Oxford, but he left Oxford, you believe, to write plays. And his first big, without a qualification, by the way, and French Without Tears in 1933, as I said, was his first big hit. And after that, he had a whole series of plays, Cause Célèbre, Separate Tables, The Winslow Boy, the Browning version. Both of those were the play of the year in their year. But I'd say at the peak for most people of his plays, and probably my favourite would be The Deep Blue Sea. A powerful play, very deep play. It's all about the destructive power of if you like, physical love. It's a bit like Antony and Cleopatra in that regard. It's a play, I think, that will endure. It has endured and it will endure. Actually, the play itself, it's a very powerful play. It's about a philandering high court judge. You can see the autobiographical thing there, and his wife, And after a while, she leaves him for this young man, Freddie Page, and, they have to live in virtual poverty. But his ardour, after a while, of course, wears off as well, and she becomes what we would call nowadays a golf widow. So the woman is left with a terrible dilemma, if you like, whether to go back to the husband as he wants or to stay with the young man living in poverty, if you like. And this is where the title comes in, The Deep Blue Sea. She has the dilemma of two unpleasant choices to choose from. Now, some people see Hester Collier, the heroine, as a very silly person, you know, but other people see her as a very modern woman who wants to strike out with independence and make a life for herself. They see her as a very modern woman rather than being silly, if you like.
I know we've had an awful lot of plays from the National Theatre, and they can be, well, say, out there a bit. What can we expect from the National Theatre this time?
Well, as you know, I mean, it's one of the great theatres of the world, I suppose, and generally we've had some superb ones from it. I suppose we can expect, I hope we can expect a tremendous performance. It has an excellent cast, you know, and we can expect a tremendous performance of a great play, a great playwright, a great theatre. You know, as they say nowadays, what's not to like about that?
Brilliant. Tickets can be booked at sgcdungarvan.ie, movies at gory.ie, or movies-at.ie for Swords and Dundrum. Thank you.